And so it is Bruno Lage for Wolves next season then. Great. I mean, obviously, not many of us know that much about him other than the stats, but when you look at them stats, it's mightily impressive. And after last season, and well, the last 18 months of dirge and the most boring football since Hoddle, attacking football is what we all craved. And now it looks like we're going to get it in abundance. We said all season long how much these players were playing with a handbrake on, and now it looks like we've got a manager whose handbrake is firmly off, and it's all based on let's outscore the opposition, which is great. Yep, we might not make Europe, but a season of actual transition rather than just changing formation and being weird like we had last year. Great. Mid-table again, but with attacking football, perfectly fine by me. Bring it on.
So the worst kept secret in the world is out the bag, and Bruno Lage is now our head coach. I'm actually really excited about him, to be honest. He seems to be the antidote to everything that was going wrong under Nuno in his last year. First of all, obviously, we all go on record to appreciate what Nuno's done for the club and the city. Obviously, he's still got his hardcore support amongst Wolves fans. I just hope that Bruno is given a fair crack of the whip and we don't get, if he has a tough start the first couple of games, I hope we don't get, the cult of Nuno fans still cheering for Nuno or still calling for him, because that's only going to end one way. But with Bruno, he seems to be a kind of guy who's looking to play attacking football and will set us up for that purpose as well, which is exactly what we want. We're tired of our players playing with a handbrake on or being, strangled in their positions. We want to see our players get let off the leash a little bit and play with a bit more attacking verve. And I think after last season, that'll probably be the perfect antidote now, to see us set up in a more attacking formation. It's going to be an interesting summer as well, just to see who goes and who stays, who wants to stick around and impress Bruno, or even who Bruno might even have his own ideas on who he wants to keep. But I'm looking forward to it. He's won a title in Benfica. He's got previous experience of English football, so he knows what to expect. So I'm pleased. I mean, it was obviously well expected that he would become our manager. It has been for a long time. It's just a case of when. Fabio Silva's made some good comments about Luis Nascimento as the coach. Has helped brought him on when he was younger. Joao Cancelo has had good things to say as well. So for me, this is great news now, and we just need to back it up now with a good summer of signings. So have faith in Bruno, and Bruno had a dream.
So Bruno Lage, I think I'm saying that right. New head coach at Wolves. Not 100% sure what to make of it, but I think the unknown quantity of it all makes it quite exciting for me. All we have to go off is a season and a bit at Benfica, which by all accounts was thrilling, short-lived, but at the same time successful. Was able to bring a league title to what admittedly is the biggest club in Portugal, and everything should kind of be viewed through that prism, in the sense that they would be dominating every single game they're playing. And you still have to say, though, his record spoke for itself. I think he went a period of winning 36 out of 38 games, which is phenomenal, regardless of what level you're playing at and the opposition that you're coming up against. So he clearly has some real tactical acumen from a attacking perspective, and breaking down teams who are likely to sit deep. And having watched some of the highlights from his time there, I'm looking forward to seeing a team playing on the front foot when it comes to his tenure at Wolves. And I still think we have a lot of untapped potential within our squad from an attacking perspective, getting players and bodies in and around the 18-yard area. And I think there's more to come from this squad, regardless of the fact that we need reinforcements. The players that we have at the club currently didn't really live up to their potential last season. So there's a step up required there. There's going to be a step up required in terms of fresh faces into the club as well, and especially from a defensive perspective if we are looking to be more attacking. But all signs point to a much more enjoyable product than we've had over the last 12 months. So looking forward to seeing you settle down, Bruno.
So Wolves have finally got their replacement for Nuno Santo, and surprise, it's a Portuguese manager, but he seems a bit different from Nuno, does Bruno. From what we can tell from his spell as Benfica manager, he plays big attacking football. I'm interested to see how that's going to translate to this Wolves team, this current core group of players, and how it will translate to a Premier League as well. Whether it will be a situation, I guess, similar to, let's say Leeds, when they came up last season. It's a different style, and it will take teams a bit of a while to figure them out whether, that's going to work. Or even, to be honest, if he's going to play that style as well, which is a big thing for me. He's not the most experienced manager. Are we judging this whole he's going to play attacking 4-4-2 based on one spell as a manager? Of course, Nuno didn't necessarily play three at the back everywhere he was before. I think it's going to be interesting to sort of see how that develops going forward. As I mentioned about players as well, if we are going to a back four, we already have spoken about the likes of Cody. How will he adapt for someone who did so well in the middle of a back three to being questionable in a back four? And it feels like our defence isn't quite good enough, in my honest opinion, to necessarily play the back four and be very exposed. And from the rumours, there's also a lot of in and outs in recruitment wise that might dictate what could happen as well. But I think it's really exciting times from what we can tell. From the press, they've been really, really impressed with Bruno Lage. And, from what I've seen from him being Benfica manager last year, I think we've got to be impressed. We've got to back our man, most importantly, as well. And, fingers crossed, he does a fantastic job.
So Bruno Lage is the new manager for Wolves, and I finally got over the fact that Nuno isn't here anymore. It's time to move on and really back the new manager, and I'd urge all Wolves fans to do that. I'm feeling a lot more positive around the appointment now, and I think that, his record speaks for itself. In the Portuguese league, great record, 48 games, won 38 of those, and 131 goals scored with only 39 conceded. So I really am feeling positive, and that we're actually going to see some really good football at Molineux next season, hopefully with a crowd. The only concern is that we don't tend to have the players that fit the system that Lage does like to play, which is almost like a 4-2-2. I think pretty similar to what sort of Southampton play. So I really do think we need to back the manager and get the recruitment right, because if we don't, I don't think any manager will be able to get us back into the top 10 of the Premier League. So I think overall, I think it'll go one of two ways. I think we're going to have a really good season next year, fighting for Europe, or we could have the unthinkable, which could be a relegation battle in our hands. Let's see how it goes, but overall I'm feeling pretty positive at this stage.
So Bruno's been announced, the worst kept secret in football really. Thankfully he passed his English test with Priti Patel, and whether you agree or disagree with it, we've got to get behind the guy. He won 36 of his first 38 league games with Benfica, and of course, it's not going to be that easy in the Premier League, but, from what we've heard from the Portuguese experts, it's going to be a completely different style of play. And, us Wolves fans are realistic, but at the same time, the squad we have is much better than 13th in the Premier League. So if he can get the best out of our players, we know, it's going to be an exciting time going forward. Whether you believe the rumours of the incomings and outgoings, the squad does need a refresh. So we might lose some of the core that has given us so much success over the last 4 years, but you know, you got to keep the faith and, you know, hope that they'll be replaced with equally talented young players that are going to take this club forward. So, you know, he's got my backing. You know, it's exciting, it's nerve-wracking at the same time, but, you know, it's going to be another summer that's like a roller coaster. You know, fixtures are out next week and I can't wait.
So I've been saying Bruno Lage for the last couple of weeks, and now I found out that it's Bruno Lage. So I don't know enough about the guy to have a real opinion, but I am excited. And looking at what he did at Benfica, he played attacking football and scored a bag of goals, and that's exactly what we need. I'm worried about the transfer window. I don't know what players we're going to lose, especially if we have to sell to buy. But providing we buy a centre-back and a good midfielder, like to go with, I say to go with Neves, he's probably going, isn't he? But a good centre mid to control things, create things, and bomb forward. I'm looking forward to the season. Get behind Bruno. It's sad to see Nuno go, but times change, and we've got to get behind the new manager.
Welcome to the Bruno era. You know what? It's probably been the worst kept secret in football for the last month. Obviously, he's now signed up. We've got him in. And all I can say is I'm really excited, to be honest with you, with the new Bruno regime and revolution. Buzzing to be playing 4-4-2. I think looking at all the stats and sort of looking how we line up, I'm really excited to see if we can really adopt that sort of 2-2-6 formation when we're in attack and just get the wide players, you know, the wing backs bombing forward, and it's just going to, hopefully, let's just see some exciting football. I mean, you've got to thank Nuno for the last 4 years, but it has been pragmatic at best. It's a results business, and he's been fantastic for 3.5 years for us. Time was up. I'm happy for the change. I think we're as likely to come 4th as we are 20th. But I'm excited. I'm really excited. I think, you know, judge the transfer window, judge the manager at the end of this window. There'll be a few people going out, there'll be a few ins coming in. I think it'll be a bit slow with the Euros as well. Just trust the process, get on board, enjoy the ride, and I'm buzzing for it. Honestly, I really, really am. And I think I think the Nuno era sort of got a bit stagnated, a bit stale, and to be honest with you, it hasn't come out that well in the press recently how he's been dealing with Palace and Everton. So for me, he was sacked, probably rightly so, in terms of the way the results were going. And look, if we're scoring 2.6 goals a game on average come next season, we're back in Europe and we'll be enjoying ourselves. Keep the faith, up the Wolves.